Hello, everyone. It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for joining us on the show. Sunday, November 25th, Alabama rolls past Auburn in the Iron Bowl. What were your thoughts on that game? Post out in the comment box. Also, post where you're coming from. Thank you for joining us tonight. Got a great show lined up for you. And I'm just about to talk about Terrell Lewis. You see what he posted on Twitter? I got the screenshot of that I'm gonna put up just right now. That was pretty impressive. I mean, this is Terrell Lewis, who suffered what we thought was a ACL season-ending injury. He posts this just today, debating if I should pick up where I left off. And wouldn't that be quite the addition to Alabama against Georgia in the SEC championship game? I mean, Terrell Lewis, certainly one of the best pass rushers in college football. We haven't seen him all this season. Missed him most of last season. Then he came back and played the tail end of the game. Post this tonight. Really excited for the kid if he does get an opportunity to come. Even Mac Wilson posted on Twitter. He was like, got a surprise in store for everybody. And I think this is a surprise. We'll definitely let you know what we see at practice this coming week. Thanks for joining us, everybody. What's up? I mean, the Iron Bowl was a fantastic game. I always got to mention, I got the Hawaiian Leon from Mitch in Hawaii. What's up, Mitch, if you're out there? The Iron Bowl, I mean, last year when I went to Auburn, the atmosphere was electric. And the same thing last night at Bryant-Denny Stadium, especially when they played Dixieland Delight in the fourth quarter. And a lot of fans were sweating when Auburn came to play in the first half. Now, granted, Alabama hasn't played that well in the first half in the last two games. But in the second half, Alabama, and especially Alabama fans, you have Tua. You're in good hands with Tua because everybody eats, like unofficial coach says, right? And everybody ate last night, and Tua was on fire. And I think everyone was asking about his Heisman moment. Did he win his Heisman last night against Kyler Murray? And I think Kyler Murray has a great game from Oklahoma. But I have to say, Tua's Heisman moment didn't come last night. Didn't come in any games previous. It came in January against Georgia when he came into the second half and threw that touchdown to Devontae Smith. That's when Tua's Heisman moment came. Thanks for joining us. If you're just checking in, my name is Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. And before we get going, I want to tell you about a deal we have coming to BamaInsider.com tomorrow. It's Cyber Monday. Go to BamaInsider.com. If you're not a premium subscriber, this is the perfect time. Get $99 in team gear with 99 Cyber as the promo code. You can get your subscription to BamaInsider.com, and you can get $99 in team gear. Well, what's a team gear, you ask, right? Well, the team gear includes you're going to get anything you want from the Rivals Team Fan Shop. Perfect time to get Bama gear. And this is all in store right now at BamaInsider.com. The deal starts on Monday, and the deal is 99 Cyber. That's a promo code. Get $99 in team gear at BamaInsider.com. All right, so be sure and check that out. So as we always do, let me start off with Nick Saban's press conference, and then we'll get the show going, and then I'll take your calls at 205-686-3604 in just a few minutes. All right, so here's Nick Saban on his press conference following Alabama's victory over Auburn.
I was really proud of our team, especially the way they came out and played in the second half. Played a little giveaway in the first half and got a punt blocked and gave up a couple explosive plays. But boy, I tell you, in the second half, I thought our guys did a really, really good job, and really proud of the way they came out and played. And it's always a big game, makes a lot of people happy, a lot of Alabama folks happy. We're certainly happy for them. We had a great crowd and a great atmosphere out there, and certainly thank everyone who contributed to that atmosphere. It was great to be a part of. So it's a great win for us, and for our seniors, really happy for them to their last memory of playing in Bryant-Denny Stadium will be one that they can remember in a very positive way, and very happy for them as well. You accomplish a lot in the season. I think the SEC is a very good league. For the team to go undefeated is quite an accomplishment, but it really doesn't mean anything if we can't take advantage of the opportunity that we have, next week in the SEC championship game. And, obviously Georgia's a very, very good team. So, we had a few guys. I think Bugs will be okay. He's got a hyperextended knee, but I think he'll be okay. Jalen Waddle obviously came back and played in the game. Wasn't anything serious with him. So I don't think we have any other issues.
Coach, we'll start on the far side with Ben.
Tua set a school record for touchdowns today. Was this maybe the most memorable moment of the season for him?
I think you should ask him, that. He was happy today that we won the game. He played a really good game. I think contributed on 6 scores with, 4 or 5 touchdown passes and 1 running or whatever. So, and he had a great year for us. And I was happy to see Jalen get in and have a positive play as well. But I thought, Tua was into it. He probably did a lot. His leadership was really important, today for our offense. Don't ask me why, but it doesn't seem like we had the right kind of energy in the first half. I don't know if it was anxiety or what it was, but we seemed to settle down and play a lot better in the second half.
Just about that second half, the way Tua came out of the halftime, I think 11 for 12 in the second half. Just how good was he in that second half?
Well, he was outstanding, and I think it was really important that we hit 2 big plays, start the second half and scored, really quickly. I think that changed the game, quite a bit when we got it 31-14. So, and he was obviously responsible for both of those explosive plays, one to Jerry Jeudy and one to Josh Jacobs. So I think that was a real turning point in the game.
Back on the right with Charlie.
All right, you can watch Nick Saban's full press conference on BamaInsider.com on our YouTube channel. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us. On the show, how I usually break it down is I usually start out with the stats, and I kind of go through the stats, and then after the stats, we'll look at the player grades that we get from Pro Football Focus. If you're interested in recruiting, Alabama has just landed 3 class of 2020 commits, and you can read about that on BamaInsider.com. Andrew Bone has that covered, and he usually has a recruiting show Wednesday or Friday right here on our YouTube channel, but all his information back on BamaInsider.com. Here is, you're going to be looking at the stats for Alabama against Auburn. I think this is a good place to start. Tua Tagovailoa, 25 of 32, 324 yards, 5 touchdowns, had 6 touchdowns in total on the night. Quarterback rating of 214.7. I mean, just balled out on a big-time stage, and everybody certainly wanted to see what Tua was made of after that. And I think all eyes were certainly watching him after Oklahoma and West Virginia did their thing the night before in a game that featured absolutely no defense. Thought Auburn's defense was very good, and Alabama had to make adjustments, and Tua had to make some pinpoint throws, and the receivers certainly came up big. I mean, you look at that touchdown catch by Henry Ruggs, looked like a vacuum hauling that pass in. And then it was great to see Jalen Hurts come in as well. 1 for 153 yards with a touchdown. Saw that wide receiver Jalen Waddle clocked out at 21 miles per hour on that touchdown, which is crazy to think that he's that fast. But Henry Ruggs this season is clocked out at 24 miles an hour. Leading the team in rushing, Damian Harris, 41 yards off 9 carries. Josh Jacobs, 5 attempts for 28 yards. Josh Jacobs, so versatile. Everybody really likes and appreciates his game. He ran over a defender last night, then he flexed on him. Then he caught a touchdown pass for 33 yards. Also led a block on that Tua touchdown run there in the goal line situation. Jerry Jeudy, 5 receptions, 77 yards with 1 touchdown, longs to 46. Henry Ruggs, 5 catches, 62 yards, 2 touchdowns, targeted 8 times. Devontae Smith, man, everybody's getting the ball. 4 receptions, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. Josh Jacobs, as mentioned, 53 yards. Jalen Waddle, 3 receptions, 73 yards. Irv Smith, 3 receptions, 27 yards. I mean, look at that. That's incredible. In total offense, Alabama 500 yards on the dot. In 11 out of 12 games this season, Alabama has had over 500 yards. Credit the offense. Also credit Mike Locksley, Dan Enos, Josh Gaddis for doing a wonderful job with this Alabama offense, making adjustments, putting the players at the right position. Passing yards last night, Alabama had 377 to Auburn's 153. Auburn did a good job at the beginning of the game, rushing the ball, especially up the middle of the field, 130 yards on Alabama. Alabama had 123 yards. First downs, Alabama had 23. Auburn had 19. I don't think Auburn was a bad team. I mean, I think Alabama made some great adjustments and certainly had more depth and had more playmakers on the night. But I didn't think Auburn was a terrible team. I think it was a really good win, especially going into the SEC championship game. And I think after Alabama put away Auburn, a lot of college football analysts at the highest level are now saying that Alabama is in no matter what happens against Georgia. And I'm not saying that Alabama goes and loses that game. You don't want to lose any game. But Alabama has certainly made their case throughout the season from start to finish that they are certainly one of the top 4 teams. Obviously, if you watch Alabama, they're clearly the number 1 team going into this week. Here are the defensive stats. Dylan Moses, 9 tackles, 4 solo tackles. LeBron Ray came in for injured Isaiah Buggs. By the way, it looks like Isaiah Buggs is going to be okay for that Georgia game. Looks like it was a hyperextended knee suffered on a chop block from Georgia, against Auburn. So this is Isaiah Buggs I'm talking about. Went into the medical tent, came back out, went into the medical tent again. Then we didn't see him during the second half. So it looks like he's going to be okay, though, according to Saban. Anthony Jennings has been playing really big the last couple weeks. 8 total tackles. Raekwon Davis chased down the quarterback last night several times. 7 tackles. Savion Smith, I think at times he does struggle with the deep ball. And I think going into this game against Georgia, I would go after Savion Smith if I'm an opposing coach. But he's a very good open field tackler. How about this young man, Shaheem Carter? Completely balled out last night. He did have a penalty that kind of, but I don't think that penalty. I think it was like a late hit on the quarterback, and then I don't think that took away what he did all night because he really played well. Xavier McKinney's been playing at a very high level all season. 6 tackles. Mac Wilson 5 tackles. Deontay Thompson 4 tackles. Patrick Surtain. It's actually Patrick Surtain. I'm sorry on the pronunciation. 3 tackles as a true freshman and came up big there in the later part of the game on a 4th down where he stuffed a Auburn offensive player that was trying to get a first down. Quinnen Williams, 3 tackles. And Kirby Smart, and you can watch you can actually listen to Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, their SEC teleconference, which is posted on our YouTube channel just a few minutes ago. Nothing but positives to say about Quinnen Williams and just, the problems that teams have with Quinnen Williams in the season that he's been having. He's actually the highest graded player on Alabama's football team, if you can believe that. Okay, now we are going to look at offensive grades. And if this is your first time looking at the offensive grades, I'll explain it real quick. Most of you have seen the show enough to know how the offensive grade and defensive grades work. So on your far left, it's a player's name. The position is POS. Total represents the snap counts, and then you have offensive. So OFF is their overall grade. The next column over is their passing grade, grades during passing plays, and then for linemen, PBLK is pass blocking grade. Okay, so let's just start at the top. Alex Otherwood played in 60 snaps. His overall grade is a 56.5. His pass blocking grade is a 62.8. Jedrick Wills, right tackle, 60 plays, 38 in pass block, 64.3 overall grade, 77.7 in pass block. I won't read them all, but just kind of showing you how these grades go. And I always post these on BamaInsider.com as well. Ross Piercebacher on senior night, 60 snaps, 64.1 offensive grade, 76.0 in pass block. Now, Jonah Williams, 88.9 in pass block. Just under him, a couple, I think you go past Deontay Brown. Tua Tagovailoa, 56 snaps, 73.5 overall grade. Jerry Jeudy playing at a high level. This is a low grade for him, though. So you can read more of those grades on BamaInsider.com, but I always just like to give you a snapshot of what the grades look like. Here are the defensive grades for Alabama, starting at the top with Patrick Surtain, 77 total plays. It's really incredible the amount of playing time that Patrick Surtain is getting this year as a true freshman, grade of 68.3 last night. Xavier McKinney, 62.3. Looks like the highest graded defensive player was Anthony Jennings last night with the 81.3 there at the bottom of the screen. Shaheem Carter, as I mentioned, played very, very high throughout the game, 80.6. And who else? Quinnen Williams, 73.6. Low grade for Quinnen, considering how how well he's played this season. Okay, I want to now look at the college football playoff picture. Now, Alabama, 12-0. Clemson, 12-0. Notre Dame, 12-0. Georgia, 11-1. Oklahoma, 11-1. Only 4 teams can make the playoffs. Right now, Alabama, certainly the number 1 team. And if it worked out this way, well, it really can't because we have to get past these title games. Notre Dame is certainly in because they don't have a conference championship game. So you have Notre Dame in there. Clemson still has to win the ACC championship game, which it should do. High probability there. Alabama and Georgia play. Now, what happens if Georgia beats Alabama? Well, Alabama will be 12-1. Georgia would be 12-1. And I think that top 4 would read like this. Clemson at the number 1 spot, followed by Notre Dame. Or it would probably be Clemson, then Georgia, Notre Dame, and then Alabama. And then you would have Alabama and Clemson likely meeting in the Orange Bowl, and you would have Notre Dame and Georgia meeting in the Cotton Bowl. Now, if it works out and Alabama wins out, it's going to be interesting to see who gets that 4th spot. Probably Alabama, Clemson, if they win, Notre Dame, and then that 4th spot, it's going to probably go to either Oklahoma or Ohio State. I guess it would depend if whoever wins their conference. So it would be Oklahoma playing Texas, and then Ohio State playing Northwestern. So college football playoff is not set just yet, but those are that's a quick look. And I think Alabama fans, you guys are in the playoffs. It's just a matter of are you playing in Miami or are you playing in Dallas? All right. Okay, this is a quick snapshot of Alabama's overall season total win. Just wanted to throw that up real quick. Starting out, Louisville 51-14, Arkansas State 57-7, Ole Miss 62-7, Texas A&M 45-23. Just a dominant run, just a dominant stretch this year. Last 2 games posting up 50 points, beating Citadel 2 weeks ago 50-17, and then Auburn 52-21. These are the final regular season stats through 12 games. Wanted to bring this up. Damian Harris, 733 yards. Actually had 719 yards in net yardage, so still away from 1,000 yards. He was trying to be Alabama's first back to run for 1,000 yards in 3 consecutive seasons. Najee Harris, 664 net yardage. Josh Jacobs, 414 yards. Scored 9 touchdowns, though. Tua Tagovailoa, just incredible numbers. Efficiency rating of 212.52. 3,000 yards on the season. 36 touchdowns. I mean, what an unbelievable year for Tua Tagovailoa. Jalen Hurts, 43 of 58. I think we saw a lot of improvement from Jalen. I think we can all agree on that. Jerry Jeudy leads the team in receiving, 56 receptions, 1,079 yards with 11 touchdowns. Henry Ruggs, 39 receptions, 675 yards and 10 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, 37 receptions, 690 yards with 6 touchdowns. Here's the final defensive stats through 12 games. This is just the regular season. Dylan Moses leads the team, 70 tackles. 33 of those were solo tackles. Deontay Thompson, second in line, 63 tackles with 2 interceptions. Quentin Williams, 58 tackles. Mack Wilson, 57 tackles. Xavier McKinney, 56 tackles. Raekwon Davis, 47 tackles. And leading the team in sacks, Raekwon Davis with 9.5 sacks. Leading the team in interceptions, Savion Smith with 3. All right, let me get back to you. Okay, I'm going to open up the line right now on BamaInsider.com. So definitely want to take your calls, and line is open. You guys want to call in and talk some Alabama football with me? Feel free, and we can. I want to hear your thoughts on Alabama and Georgia. Be a tough one. Alabama taking on Kirby Smart team. Kirby Smart certainly. One of the top coaches in college football already. All right. Good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
That's Robert from Mobile.
Hey, what's up, Robert? How you doing tonight?
Hey, man. Yeah, it went down pretty much like we expected. Alabama beatdown. That Alabama beatdown written all over it.
Were you a little bit nervous in that first half when the game was a little bit tight?
No, because you knew what Malzahn was going to be able to keep those trick plays and those big plays up for the entire game.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you just saw it. Okay, well, heck, you got to get us. We have to block a punt, and you have to get a trick play to even get a score.
Sure.
They got one good drive, and that was it. So, well, yeah, you're not going to keep this up the entire game. I mean, Alabama's and Tua going to go off on you eventually. Because, I mean, it's just inevitable. The Tua and our receiving core is just an unstoppable combination. You can't guard all those guys. We have like the unofficial coach said, everybody eats.
Yeah.
The only didn't have a touchdown was the big guy didn't have a touchdown was Irv Smith.
Irv Smith. Yeah, and he still had 3 receptions. I mean, they still found a way to utilize him last night. Let me ask you this: does Alabama seem susceptible to teams running right up the middle? Because Auburn, in that first half, it seems like they had a pretty good ground game plan, and it seemed effective until Alabama made some adjustments. Are you concerned going against Georgia that has a top-flight rushing attack that they might take advantage of Alabama's, I guess you could say, maybe lack of a, maybe take advantage of Mack Wilson and Dylan Moses, or do you think Alabama will have that under control?
They'll, again, like Auburn, they'll have some success. It's just in the past when Jalen Hurts is a quarterback, that would be again, if it was Jalen Hurts, I would be worried because you knew how to beat him, and he limited the offense with his style of play. I mean, we weren't going to score a bunch of points. With Tua, it's okay. Yeah, Georgia, you might crack 30 on us, but Tua's capable of getting 50 on you. Can you get 40 or 50? And so it's a problem. It'd be great if it wasn't there, but we kind of figured going in, okay, the offense is going to have to do more, and that's why Nick Saban did what he did when he named Tua the starter.
Yeah.
He knew, hey, I need more out of my offense than what Jalen was giving me. Tua can make this offense unstoppable, and with these receivers, then we're going to let it go. I think it'll be like Georgia was with Oklahoma last year. Hey, we can get some points on you. Can you get some points? The trouble with Oklahoma, they couldn't stop anything, as they can now.
Yeah,
but Alabama will eventually get some key stops.
I mean, watching that game between Oklahoma and West Virginia, I mean, there was literally no defense. I mean, it was like the safeties had never seen a takeoff route before. I mean, it was, good offense, I guess. I mean, the quarterbacks were certainly putting the ball where it needed to be, but in terms of, you got to have a defense. And I certainly think that Georgia does. I certainly think that Clemson does. I wasn't too impressed with Notre Dame against USC the other night. I watched that game. Really wasn't impressed with them. Clemson and Georgia, though, certainly 2 teams that catch my eye. And Kirby Smart, just as Nick said today on the teleconference. I mean, he has tremendous amount of respect for Kirby Smart and the job that he did while he was at Alabama and the job that he's done at Georgia. And I think he's absolutely right. I mean, I see Georgia as a bad moon rising, so to speak. Very talented recruiting class. Very good in all departments. And Jake Fromm and company, they do a really good job. Before I let you go, getting to this offense, I wanted to ask everybody about this. What are your thoughts on Mike Locksley and the job that he's done with this offense this year? Is it all Tua? Is it all the receivers? What are your thoughts on Mike Locksley and the job that he's done here at Alabama?
Boy, it's like we got a perfect storm right now with everything. Everything's clicking so well, it's hard to tell as Tua is really as special as he appears, but the receivers are just outstandingly great. It's the best receiving core in the history of Alabama football, and I think in the history of football, period. You can't name me a team with this many star receivers. I mean, they're not just good receivers.
Yeah.
They will be stars on anyone's team in the nation.
Absolutely.
All on one team. And so it's a combination of everything gelling. And, so, okay, well, could Mike Locksley make Auburn a better offense? I think he could. But Auburn wouldn't be this good. And so it's like, it's a perfect storm of everything that's come together at the right time. Real quick also, Ohio State, again, Michigan got exposed. And Yes, the Michigan defense got exposed. It was always, are you really this good? I'm seeing you doing well against very bad offenses.
Oh, man.
How good is your defense really?
It was bad. It was really bad. Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, he has never beat Ohio State. I mean, how long is that relationship going to last between Michigan and Jim Harbaugh? I don't know.
Yeah, boy, I mean, everybody thought Urban Myers was ready to check out, which we saw when Maryland would beat Ohio State, and then Ohio State would turn around and beat Michigan. But it's also the same like with Oklahoma. How good is your offense? I don't know, because all I ever see you play against are really bad defenses. There's only 3 elite teams, and it goes to Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia. Everybody else, including Notre Dame, thinking they were exposed, which I never had faith in them anyway. They're distant. The top 3 teams will utterly decimate the rest of college football. Of course, Alabama's the best, so they're going to decimate everyone. Okay, guys, good talking with you.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks, Robert. All right, call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. What are your thoughts about Alabama and Georgia? Be the second time they actually played in this year. Remember, they played back in January when we saw got our first taste of Tua magic. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson, who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Kyle, what's up? It's Jared from Buffalo.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing tonight? How was your Sunday?
It was all right. See, my Bills won a little bit. It was all right, but had a good morning knowing that finally we was able to expose Auburn a little bit. Was happy.
Yeah, and I think Alabama certainly, that was one game that everybody they always have it circled, but you always have that team who beat you last year circled a little bit in darker ink, so to speak. And Auburn brought it last year, and for the most part, they did a good job in the first half. But what were your takeaways from yesterday's game?
I mean, we started off slow again. I was a little bit concerned. I wasn't concerned that we were not going to win this game. Of course, I mean, I felt like we was going to win this game the entire way. It was just only going to be a matter of time before we was going to get off the slump. The concern I really have, though, is that we can't do this against Georgia because Georgia's offensive line might be the best offensive line in the country. And again, it's not, talent-wise, they're equal to us, especially with those recruiting classes. Their offensive line is deep, very, very deep. They have about 9 guys that could pretty much start for anybody in the country. And a lot of those guys are just like ours. They're 5-star players. They're not 3-star, 4-stars. They're 5-star players. And for a lot of the time, for what I saw for Auburn's success was that they did really, really well against us in the line of scrimmage. Raekwon Davis, he has to step up. I mean, Raekwon Davis has to step up and be that guy that we saw against Clemson and Georgia, or we had some flashes. He has to step up. For the most part. Isaiah Buggs didn't have his best game. Of course, he had the hyperextended, the knee. But we can't get pushed off the line of scrimmage while their running backs are getting 3 yards without contact. Because if that happens with Elijah Holyfield and DeAndre Swift, that's their thunder and lightning combo. That's probably the best running back combination in the country. That's what Georgia relies on. They rely on dominating the line of scrimmage, and then building the confidence for their offensive line, building play action passes, and getting it to their 5-star receivers. Georgia's receivers are as good as Alabama. I would say it's close. I'm not going to say that, but it's close. They do have a lot of 5-stars for the receiving core, which they just don't use. But they love. And plus Georgia's offense, it's the peak. So that's something that we got to try to improve on. Is that we cannot get off the sluggish start. If we get off a sluggish start, Georgia's going to punch us in the mouth, and we cannot allow that to happen. We got to come out firing off the gate. So that was pretty much my only concern for that. Besides that, Alabama's did what Alabama does, and that's dominate.
Yeah, I think there was a couple points that I disagree with, that you brought up. I mean, definitely Holyfield and Swift, a very good combo, but, Alabama, they got their backs, Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs.
Of course.
And of course, Najee Harris. It's crazy. The other thing is that I wanted to ask you about is last year, going into this game, Kirby Smart did a great job having a defensive game plan to shut Alabama down completely, right? Against Jalen. I mean, is there any defensive coordinator that can stop Tua? because what Tua has been able to do this season has been incredible. I mean, his escapability, we saw it last night. His pinpoint accuracy has been there all day long. Can Kirby somehow come up with a way to curb this Alabama offense, to level the playing field? Because Vegas just came out with the line. It's 13 and a half points, 2 touchdowns.
I will say this. I'm just going to say this. The key for Georgia to do it, honestly, the player that you probably never even heard of, Adam Anderson, true freshman.
Yeah.
He's the key, because Mississippi State was the only team that came close to slowing down Tua. They were the only team to do it, and of course they did that by just sending pressure, disguising the blitzes, sending about 4 or 5 people on the side and confusing them. But a big reason that no one gives credit to is to Montez Sweat. That is an elite pass rusher. And when he was free and when they let him free, it's over. The play is done. So the play was done. And sometimes, going back and watching, he would even blow it up before the blitz was even there. He would just blow up the play. And Georgia does not have an elite pass rusher. That's one thing that I think a lot of people, that for the most part, they're criticizing Alabama's offense for not getting the job done. Montez Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons and that Mississippi State front seven, those are all juniors and seniors. They pretty much played every single style. They have a lot of experience, very disciplined. That's a top 5 defense. Georgia is young and they're getting better, but they don't have an elite pass rusher. Their best pass rusher is who's that guy? Who's number 15 for Georgia? Not Patrick. I'm forgetting. It'll come back to me. But number 15 for Georgia, that's their best pass rusher. Much like how they use Devin White, they love to try to come him up and blitz him from the middle. So that's their best pass rusher. Adam Anderson will be the key. Because he has to blow up, which most likely he's going to go against Jonah Williams. Maybe they'll disguise him. They'll put him on the side with Jadarius Willis. But he has to make an impact by blowing up the backfield and allowing those defenders to get in to try to confuse. Kirby Smart is gonna send a lot of pressure. He's gonna watch that Mississippi State film, and he's gonna bring the house. The problem though is that I would say this: Mississippi State's secondary is one of the best in the country. They did a phenomenal job in trying and doing their best to pretty much say, you have to beat us in order to win. You got to beat us. You got to beat us. We're not going to allow you to do that. And they did just enough for the blitz. For those blitzers to get to Tua that, obviously, the effect. He was down, he got hurt, but that was the most pressure he's ever been in. Georgia secondary it's talented, very, very talented, and I think they'll be good in the future. It's not that good. Really isn't. It's not that good at all. It's not better than Mississippi State. So I think Georgia, they're going to bring the house a lot, but at the end of the day, Alabama, unless you have an elite-type secondary, Bama's receiving core will get open because they will be playing a lot of man-to-man coverage, and they're going to be blitzing a lot this game.
All right, thanks for calling in. Please call again next time. It's always good to rap with you, and good luck with your Bills Mafia.
Got you, man. Got you.
All right, man. Talk soon.
All right. Yeah.
All right, call-in line is open. Good call-in so far. 205-686-3604 is the call-in number. I want to get your thoughts on this Alabama in Georgia contest, which will be Saturday on CBS at 3 p.m. All right, hello. Good evening. It's Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling from?
Kyle, this is Lee from ATL, man. What's up with you?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm really good. In a couple more days, I will be in one of my favorite cities, ATL. I'll be checking in. I'll be hanging out on Friday night, and then Saturday we'll do it up. It's the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I could give a tour of that place. It's like Bryant-Denny East. So I'll be checking in.
I tell you what. If you want to, man, you can get my personal number. Hit me up, and I'll take you and get you a bite to eat, man.
Hey, all friends are welcome in the ATL. So what's up, man? What were your takeaways from yesterday, and what do you think about this big time SEC showdown that's about to take place?
Oh man, it's just like playing chess, baby. I was listening to your caller a minute ago talking about Georgia receivers. Man, stop it now. Everybody pump your brakes. Alabama got the best receiving core it is, man. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they watching. If you ain't never played this game, you can't say that. Alabama got the best receivers that ever been in Alabama. These guys know how to run routes, and a quarterback make you good. You know what I'm saying? So we got a good quarterback, and we got top-notch receivers, man. So Georgia receivers ain't even on that level, man. You got to watch the game that they done played before this game right here. All the games that they done played, they've been average, man. Average. You just watch Saturday. What Tua cut them up. You just watch.
Now, so we on BamaInsider.com have a massive message board, and it's a big community, and people were freaking out at halftime when the game was close, and they were freaking out against Citadel. And I went on there and I told them, relax. You got Tua. You got relax. They were freaked out.
Come on, you gotta. Yeah, it don't need a panicking, man.
No,
man. This Tua is the best we ever had, man. This dude is smart. The dude know the game.
Yes.
When you get a quarterback that knows the game, when he comes to the line, he already know what he's looking at. This dude is smart, man.
I know.
And Jalen, and you gotta look at it. Jalen has started to come around. Jalen started to be a quarterback that that we've been looking for too. Cause see, like I said, when Jalen, before Tua came in, Jalen never been challenged. When you never been challenged coming up, and somebody come and challenge you, it makes you better. Makes you better.
Yeah, I people on the show always tease me because I got so much respect for Jalen, but I mean, just like you said, I mean, I think with the adversity that he's faced this year, and he's handled it like? He's handled it like a man. Because adversity is going to come and hit you in your life at some point, and you're going to have to sit back. You can't just run away from it. This dude lost his job, then he got banged up, and he's coming in, and he's continuing to play with class, and he's playing it at a better level than he did last year. And that's all that they wanted him to do was to improve when he has an opportunity to play, and he's done just that. Right,
because like I said, all the years that he'd been growing up, he never had a person that challenged him.
No, his dad was a coach. He was
exactly.
He was ready to be the guy.
There you go. There you go.
Yep. And
there you go.
But I'm happy for him. And another thing,
I am too.
Going to Tua is one of the things that I respect about him is how he has handled himself with all the success that he's had. Hearing him speak after the game, his post conference, it's great. He's very humble. He gives the accolades to his teammates, and rightfully so. It takes two. You throw it. Someone's got to catch it. I mean, that throw was on the money to Henry Ruggs, kind of to the outside. But Henry Ruggs, that was an incredible catch, right? And just like you said, these receivers on a whole nother level.
Go ahead. Hey, you know what? Hey, Henry Ruggs is my homeboy. I'm originally from Alabama. From Montgomery, Alabama. And Henry was tough when he was in his pee-wee days.
Yeah.
He was tough then.
I bet.
Yeah. I knew he was going to be special.
Yeah, and he, 24 miles an hour, I bet you we haven't even seen as fast as he can go. I mean, that young man can fly.
Man, this dude was running like this. Like I said, when he was in the 10th grade, he had that kind of speed. Yeah.
Man.
So I knew he was gonna be special, man. Yeah, I knew he was gonna be special.
Hey,
but like I said, Kyle, when you got a good receiving core that can run routes, and you got a quarterback that can get it to you, oh man, hey, that's special, man. That's special. I was so grateful and happy that we finally got a quarterback that can really spread the ball around. I'm talking about, it's unbelievable, Kyle. It's unbelievable.
Oh,
man.
you got an NFL quarterback. That's what you got. You have an NFL quarterback with NFL wide receivers and an NFL style coach. So it's so Alabama just enjoy it, because I think that you're going to be talking about these teams for the next 25, 30 years, right? I mean, you're always going to be reverting back to the 2018 Alabama team led by Tua Tagovailoa. Anything else while you're on the show?
Man, I just want to say, like I said, I just want to tell everybody, let's pump the brakes, get ready Saturday. watch the show, and then when they call back in on Sunday, they're like, "Darn, Lee said that. Lee said that. Just pump your brakes, get ready for the game on the weekend, and roll tide, man."
All right, man. Take it easy. Thank you so much for calling in.
All right, Kyle.
All right. All right, call line is open. And with that said, we're giving all the love to the offense. The defense, I mean, they've been tightening it up. And Pete Golden, Tosh Lapoy have been doing a really good job fine-tuning the defense. The secondary has been playing lights out, and these guys have been coming to play. A lot of hard hits, getting to the quarterback. I think Raekwon Davis has certainly turned it up. I would be blown away if Terrell Lewis comes back. Calling line is open, 205-686-3604. Here we go. All right, got a bunch of calls coming in. Good evening. It's Kyle Henderson. You're on the line. Where are you calling from, and who am I on the line with?
You with David Watts from the net.
Hey, what's going on, sir? How you doing today?
I'm all right.
So we got a big one taking place in Atlanta in a couple days. Is there any way that Georgia is able to stop this Alabama team that is just playing at an extremely high level?
If they bring the heat like Mississippi State, I think we'll have a tough time with them, but I think we'll eventually find cracks in it and open the game on up and let everybody feast there, including the running backs and the wide receivers and the tight ends.
I mean, after watching the game yesterday, let's kind of switch to the defense if you want to talk about the defense. What would you say about the play of Raekwon Davis? Because it seemed like he wasn't playing at that high of a level at the beginning of the season, but I think over the last couple games, we've seen his trajectory go on the upside of Raekwon Davis, which is great. I mean, Alabama needs him to be playing at his best level. And along with Isaiah Buggs and Quentin Williams. Do you agree with that assessment about Raekwon Davis?
Yeah, I agree with it. I was kind of shocked that he didn't play in the national championship game when they played Clemson. I was like, man, just if he can't do them long arm or that long reach, maybe he can knock some of this Sean Watson pass it down. I said, oh, Nick, don't sit him like that. But I'm glad to see him coming on. I was kind of shocked that Quentin wasn't more involved yesterday. I thought he was going to be wrecking Holmes yesterday.
Yeah, he didn't play that many snaps yesterday, and sometimes he's actually played less snaps than Tua, believe it or not. Another guy who I think is the next in line is LeBron Ray. I think he has a very high upside, and I was really excited to see him get onto the field and make some plays. I think he's a guy that's certainly going to slide in once some of these guys exit out.
Yeah, I think so. Is he a sophomore?
Yeah, I believe he is a sophomore, yes.
Oh, that's good then, because the defense, we kind of slacked off this year, but I think we're still around in the top 15 range somewhere, but Nick could get it together.
Yeah, the rushing defense hasn't been as high as it's been in the past, but I mean, looking at next year, I mean, you're going to lose Raekwon Davis, probably lose Quentin Williams, lose Isaiah Buggs, so those are your three defensive linemen that are going to be gone. So talk about holes to fill next year. I mean, it's kind of always the same thing in Alabama, and they always preach next man up. But losing guys like of that quality is going to be tough to replace. But the secondary also, I mean, I mean, think about all the guys that Alabama lost in the secondary last year, and look at these guys what they're doing this year. You know, I mean, Deontay Thompson and Xavier McKinney. Wow, I mean, they've been playing.
Bring the heat.
Oh my goodness, they've been playing fantastic this year. Deontay
they
Thompson.
kind of remind me of the Landon Collins and the one before him, them hard hitters.
Oh, yeah.
Lay the wood now.
Deontay Thompson, I think pound for pound, I think everybody knows that he's the hardest hitter on the team. And when he comes up, he can hit you. And he's a ball hawk back there, too. He kind of remind me
of Ronnie Harrison.
There you go. Yeah. I think Ronnie probably had a little bit more range, probably a little bit longer than him. But I think Deontay Thompson, I don't know. That's a pretty good comparison. I think they're very similar, actually. Yeah, that's a good point out. So, I mean, when you look at the big three, let's call them Alabama, Georgia, and Clemson. Clemson, I don't know if you've seen any of their games this year, if you watched them.
Yeah, I've seen some of it. I watched that. I'm actually from the same area Jake Bentley from Opelika, which is about 13 miles down the road. I actually played ball there, so I'm familiar with them. But
Clemson's defensive
they've been doing good since he left. Since Jake Bentley left.
Clemson's defensive line is fantastic. I've watched them. I mean, they got a very good running game. Quarterback's been coming along as a true freshman. Good wide receivers on the outside. It could be. I think we'll get if Georgia and Alabama is in the early national championship game, I think Alabama and Clemson. Yeah. Because those two teams, they just seem to be destined just to keep playing each other. And Dabo Swinney's doing a great job.
The quadruple there'll be a banger, but I think Clemson, either Oklahoma beat it. I believe we had to be in a complete shootout between them two teams. I believe we had to be slinging that thing against them two teams.
Yeah, all right. Well, anything else while you're on the show, sir?
Nah, I just hope we take care of this business, sad, and keep going.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. Have a good night.
All right.
All right, call line is open. 205-686-3604. Remember about the promo we got going at BamaInsider.com on Cyber Monday. Be sure and go get your team geared. You can sign up for a premium subscription at BamaInsider.com. Get all that recruiting scoop, get all the team scoop, get all the stuff that's behind the paywall at BamaInsider.com. $99 in team gear. Don't miss out on that information back at BamaInsider.com. Hey, you're on the line on BamaInsider.com. This is Mike in Kentucky.
Yeah, you got it.
Mike in Kentucky. Mike, you don't even need an introduction. So congratulations, man. You made it to like that next level of callers.
Man, all Alabama fans are created equal, bro.
Hey, man. So what were your takeaways from the game yesterday?
Well, if we're going to play a little bit of an off half, I'd rather it happen against Auburn and Georgia. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see us down 13. At the half of the SEC championship. But to me, the last three D lines we've played are far better than Georgia's. This game's going to be a day off. Georgia's secondary always figures out how to blow the game. I'm really not concerned about Georgia. We owned them I can't even remember the last time them boys got us.
So you're not concerned about one of Nick Saban's, key assistants heading out to Georgia, came up with the game plan this last championship game to shut down Alabama. You're not worried about them in the slightest.
Nah, the young lions ain't ready to take down the old bull yet.
No, and you know what? On that note, Alabama's head coach Nick Saban, I believe, is 14 or 15-0 against former assistant that have became head coaches, if you can believe that. It's just like, they still can't beat the chess master.
Well, to tell you the truth, if anybody gets him, I think it's going to be Jimbo. I think Texas A&M's got the resources, got the high school talent pool to draw from. A&M's got a bunch of oil baron alumni. They got plenty of loot. I think Jimbo will be the first one to get him, to tell you the truth.
Mike, it sounds like you moved into like a 1940s like gymnasium. What happened to your audio? Come back.
Don't know. Can you hear me now?
It's a little bit better, but it's kind of muffled. We might have to let you go.
All right, man. That's cool, man. Roll Tide.
All right, thanks for calling in, Mike. We'll catch up next time.
All right, man. Must be the connection.
All right. It's too bad. It's one of my favorite callers, Mike in Kentucky. All right. Well, that opens up the line, 205-686-3604. Thanks for joining us on the show today. It's we got a ton of great coverage for you guys on BamaInsider.com. As I said, 3 new 2020 commitments to Alabama after yesterday. The atmosphere was electric. Did you see when they, Dixieland Delight came on? You know what they were saying. They said it loud and clear. And it's always great. This is my first taste of Dixieland Delight being here. It was, it's Bryant Denny was packed. It felt good. It felt good to be there. All right, got another caller. Here we go. All right. Good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
On the line with Michael, and I'm from Mobile, Alabama.
Hey, Michael. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, sir. Can I get a Roll Tide?
Roll Tide. I love when they do that before the game, when they the cheerleaders get everybody hyped up and they do it from like one side to the other. Yesterday at the stadium, it was electric. It was just that college football pageantry that you want. And, it makes me sad when it's the last home game of the season. Because I love going to Bryant Denny. I look forward to it. So what's up? You're on the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just I love what Tua did. I think you just need to go and give him the Heisman.
Yeah.
And and I was thinking more about. I know we're really passing the ball and Tua putting up great numbers, but I'm still having this little concern about this running game. We're not really running the ball like we really need to. I'm just looking at this. I don't know if this could come back to haunt us or, but we're really not really running the football like we normally do.
That's I sometimes have that same concern. A player that I would like to see get more touches, and I know they have to distribute the football to Damian because he is a senior and he's very talented, and Najee is going to get his touches. But I think right now, Josh Jacobs is playing at the highest level. And I would like to see more of a healthy dose of Josh Jacobs. I think, he's literally been trucking over defenders. He's been catching the football. Tua said last night he could throw the football, so maybe there's some sort of wrinkle in the system where he's in a wildcat kind of setup and goal line. I don't know what they have, but give Josh Jacobs the football because I think he's playing at a really high level. But with that said, Alabama scores so quickly that sometimes they don't need a ground game. But I think inside the red zone, sometimes, when they kind of roll out with Tua, it might just I'm not a coach, I'm not an offensive coordinator, but I think, sometimes you just got to pound it up the ground with some Josh Jacobs, right? A little heavy dose inside the red zone. And I'd like to see more of that going forward. So you're not the only one that has concerns, because I kind of think the same thing when I'm watching the offense.
Yeah, and I was jumping to another subject. Field goals, extra points, perfect.
Yeah, and the crowd has been going crazy when they hit PATs, which is funny. But then again, they have a special teams blunder with a blocked punt. And blocked punts, I would take them. They're both bad, missed PATs, but blocked punts lead to touchdowns. Straight up.
Right.
And you cannot, if they got a blocked punt again, and I think the new punter, he's been doing, an adequate job. He's serviceable, but he's not, he's still been back there a little bit too long. And I think Alabama fans are so used to J.K. Scott because he's probably one of the greatest punters ever to come through Alabama. But I don't know. It seems like this guy's still holding the football too long back there, which makes me nervous. I kind of smelled a blocked punt a mile away. And I don't think the missed PATs, I don't think we've done seeing those. I hope we are. Because those, you miss a PAT and you get a blocked punt, you might lose the game against a team like Clemson or a team like Georgia.
You're right. But you even though you have if you're a team that's, I guess, a perfect team in all aspects, you're going to have a weakness, some type of weakness, right? It's kind of hard not to have a weakness.
Yeah, you're right. Because you look at this team, every single position, they're pretty much flawless. And then you get to the kicking game, you get to the punting game, and, they've certainly had issues. Now, on the other side, their punt returner is very talented, Jalen Waddle. And the kick returner, Josh Jacobs, there for a while, I'll have to check it again, but he had the highest kick return average in the country. I don't think anybody wants to kick to Josh Jacobs or Jalen Waddle.
Oh yeah, you're right. And one more thing, I was looking on the even though Auburn they threw out a lot of trick plays, and I got the trick plays, but there was a lot of miscommunication on the back end with those defensive backs. We really need to correct that. Because Georgia probably could expose us if we don't correct it this game.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sometimes Savion Smith looks susceptible to the deep ball.
He does.
And with Jared Maiden out, that's, I guess Keaton Anderson's going to have to fill. So that's concerning because Georgia does have a very talented receiving corps. And Calvin Ridley's brother, Riley Ridley, is one of those guys that Alabama's going to have to account for. And I think, Jake Fromm, he's a pretty good quarterback. And so is Justin Fields. Both of those guys are capable of, putting together a pretty good job. I have a lot of respect for Jarrett Stidham as well. I thought he's a good quarterback, but not as many weapons on the outside as Georgia has.
Yeah, I understand that. I think every time Coach Saban he tell us about what you need to correct, they they instantly correct what they need to correct.
Yeah.
And that's just being Coach Saban. That's being GOAT. You know what I'm saying? GOAT Saban.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Goat Saban. Yeah. Anything else while you're on the show tonight?
That'll be all. Thank you, Kyle, and I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate the call.
All right, bye.
All right, call line is open. Taking a couple more calls. 205-686-3604. All right, just on. Rob in Colorado. What's up, man?
Kyle, what's up, brother?
Man, tell me about your Sunday.
Doing good. Watching my Packers kind of struggle right now. I'm hoping they win, but they're not having a Bama-like season.
Any sightings of J.K. Scott?
Yes, and he's solid as ever. He had about 5 or 6 punts. It's tied 14-14, like kind of mid-third quarter.
All right, yeah, that's good, man. Well, what do you think, man? What were your observations after watching Alabama, manhandle Auburn there in that second half?
Well, first off, we got a troll in the chat room. You can leave him in there if you want. Marcus Mackey.
All right.
He's a dog fan. He's kind of entertaining. You can leave him if you want, or you can kick him. It's whatever. But he's saying all kinds of nonsense about how good Georgia is, and Bama hasn't played anyone all year when, that's not true.
And Georgia Tech was tough, right? And so
Georgia Tech was tough. Their best win is a Florida team that lost to Missouri. Yeah, that's right, Georgia. You sure did play more. You should have played better teams than Alabama.
Yeah.
Even though we smoked LSU 29-0.
They played Liberty.
They play Liberty. Oh,
hey, you know, you know who beat Liberty last week, and I'm so pumped about it. My alma mater, New Mexico State, the Aggies. They beat Liberty.
Hey,
yeah. So, man, Alabama fans, you guys are spoiled. New Mexico State fans, we're like, whoa, we beat Liberty. Yes, that was a big win for us. So, going into this Georgia game. A lot of our callers haven't been too concerned about this Georgia team, but Kirby Smart, he's a defensive mastermind. Any cause for concern in the SEC championship game?
Keaton Anderson. I heard you mention him the last call. It might be an early assumption, but he kind of reminds me of Keith Holcomb, but at a safety position. I don't know, man. Jared Maiden was playing good ball.
Yeah,
he was playing good ball, bro.
Man, and that hit was dangerous, though, man.
That was a bad hit, dude. He actually knocked him out. He went stiff. I saw his feet.
Man, the replay, I turned away. That was bad. It could have been bad for both of those guys,
dude.
I don't know. Yeah, but that might be a good comparison. Is comparing Keaton Anderson to Keith? Holcomb, just in the secondary. I don't know.
He wants it. He wants it so bad. High energy.
No.
He's been there at least what Kyle, 4 years?
Yeah, I
3-4 years. He had to be there 3 or 4 years. Keith Anderson. Yeah. I've been seeing him forever, so I know he wants it, but athletically, man, he might get burned.
The good news is Deontay Thompson and Xavier McKinney. Two of the best safeties in college football, especially. And Xavier McKinney doesn't get enough credit. He's been doing a fantastic job. And then at the corner position, I really like Patrick Surtain. I can't wait to see if he's positioned on Riley Ridley. I would love to see that matchup. That's going to be, a future NFL matchup.
Dude, you said it. Have you noticed how fast Surtain is?
Oh, he is.
Surtain is fast. Dude, that dude caught up.
Yes.
I think it was the run.
Mm-hmm.
It was either the 75-yard run or it was that one. And you guys in the chat room, give Savion a break. The refs let that go. Savion barely had one finger on that guy's shirt, and the refs probably didn't even see it. And what happened was the guy pushed off. Now the announcer said they were both holding The announcer said Savion was holding. That's why he let the push go. But I don't even think the ref saw that because he barely had like one finger on him holding his shirt. He pushed off. Savion is solid. He is solid. He's a solid. Surtain is like locked down. I haven't seen Surtain get beat once this year. Have you?
I have not, and I actually have the grades to that I could pull for everybody, and I could show Patrick Surtain, because what Pro Football Focus does, they give us the grades, and then they show you how many times a player has been targeted, how many yards he's been allowed, and how many touchdowns. I don't think he's allowed a touchdown this year, and he hasn't allowed very many yards. I mean, Patrick Surtain is playing at a very, very high level. He's got NFL, and he's gonna be playing in the league, no doubt about it.
3 and out. That dude is a 3 and out. Much like Jonah Williams, and some of these other guys who are going to be 3 and outs. Mac Wilson, these guys. And and for the Georgia fans that are in the room, dude, if you haven't noticed, your team's not as good as last year. Last year, Georgia team beat LSU. That was a good Georgia team last year. A guy like Roquan Smith can change a whole defense. That dude was everywhere. You guys are not as good as last year. Your defensive line is way weaker than Auburn or Mississippi State. Man, Mississippi State got to hold that. Who's the caller that called in and said, like he said the secondary was good. That whole defense was good.
Dude, Mississippi State was incredible, and their grades. I mean, there was a caller. There was we had a female caller a couple weeks ago. She was saying LSU's defense is gonna be good, but watch for Mississippi State's. And boy, was she older? Yes,
was she an older woman. Yes, I remember her.
She knows more football than any of us. I'm serious. Yes, and she said, watch for Mississippi State, and I was like, maybe. And then sure enough, Mississippi State brought it. She was right. She's been scouting them.
She needs to call back. Yeah. We need to hear some more from her.
No, Saban needs to get her on as an analyst.
Yes.
She has an eye for spotting out. She called that like 4 weeks before any of us have even talked about it. It's easy to talk about it now because we've seen the game, but she was saying that 4 weeks before it happened.
I got to give her props, dude. I have to.
Call back in, please, if you're out there. Please.
Yes.
Please help us understand.
Every week.
Yeah, please understand this defense.
Clemson's secondary got exposed. Because if you saw, South Carolina's wide receivers, bro, they're kind of fast. They are not Jerry Jeudy, Ruggs, Waddle, Smith, not even Irv Smith.
Irv Smith's dangerous.
Yes, so Clemson's secondary and linebackers will get exposed. I'm not too worried about them. And Notre Dame got exposed.
Notre Dame, man, they just won't go away, will they? They're just like, bro, nope, we're gonna be in here. I think Alabama would just right. What does everybody think about an Alabama Notre Dame matchup at some point? It would be
Kyle. In the third quarter, it was 35-0 in 2013.
Okay, let me tell everybody this. What year was that? Was that 2012? Right? Was it?
That was a 2012 season, right, but the game was in 2013.
Okay, so let me tell everybody this. All right. So here in Sam's Club in Tuscaloosa, right? What they have playing on their TVs every single time, like nonstop, is that 2013 game of Alabama and Notre Dame. It's just on repeat on all the TVs. It's hilarious.
I love it.
It's a repeat. They don't play any other game except that game. I love it.
Dude, Lacey had a game of his life, bro. Lacey, Dix, Quentin Dix.
Yeah.
Good game.
Andy Lacey. All right, man. Anything else while you're on the show, Rob?
Score prediction. Georgia 17, Bama 4. I would say 45, but I gotta say 52 because I think deep down, Saban is kind of mad at has some personal feelings about Kirby the way he's been recruiting. I think he might put him on him.
This game has that's great, Rob. This game has such big recruiting implications, right? Because
we got to win. We have to win because look how he recruited.
Yeah,
that dude. He already has what, 4? Does he have three or 5 5-stars right now? He's got a lot of 5-stars right now.
I'll have to look it up. But you're right. I mean, last year's recruiting class that they put together was incredible. Incredible. Yeah. Wow.
And those guys are going to develop. They're going to get older, stronger. And if we don't get some guys in here now that can match them, next year, 2 years, 3 years, it might be the tables might turn.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for calling in, Rob. I will catch up with you next time, man. Please call again.
Sure will.
All right, man. All right, call line is open. It's my Rob in Colorado. Thanks for calling in, and thanks for watching the show tonight. We got a ton of content coming up on BamaInsider.com. Thanks for calling in. What's up? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where you calling from?
Hey, Kyle. How you doing, brother?
Good, man.
This is Mo from Livingston, Alabama. Hey, look, I just had a couple questions for you. First off, what do you think about Georgia's defense? Well, not so much of Georgia's defense, but we've been able to give up a couple points. And me going into the Auburn game, I thought that, okay, Auburn doesn't have a real offense, and they still managed to put up a couple points against us, even though it was a couple trick plays or whatnot the case will be. But I feel like Georgia has a steady dose of like a balanced offense where like the talent actually matches. And also on the second question, what do you think about us potentially playing Oklahoma, who has a dynamic running quarterback?
Yeah, well, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I think, Auburn gave Alabama everything that they had in their playbook, just as we talked about. I do think that Auburn's offense compared to Georgia's offense, there's no comparison because Georgia has some real firepower. I mean, they good wide receivers, good offensive line, good quarterback, very good running backs. So I think, I don't know how many points they're going to put up against Alabama, but I think they're going to move the football. They're a sound football team. And but I think this game will be similar to what you've seen in the past, where the difference will be second half adjustments made by Alabama along with big plays made by the offense. And once Alabama can get up, 10 to 14 points on Georgia, I think they're going to struggle. And I think Alabama's defense will rise up to the occasion. And I think it's going to come down to the fact that Alabama's offense can beat Georgia's defense, plain and simple. I think Loxley and Enos will outsmart Kirby Smart's defensive unit, and Tua will do his thing. Now, what was your second question? What was the second part of it? Oh, against Oklahoma.
My second part of the
against
question
Oklahoma.
was Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like traditionally in the past, we've always struggled with athletic running quarterbacks. Like it just always gave us problems. And I was just thinking, okay, well, we've shown that on a good night we could give up a couple points, but with an Oklahoma loaded offense, it could kind of get a little different from us. Something that we haven't really seen. Like we really haven't played against a dynamic running quarterback. I mean, Fitzgerald from Mississippi State is nice, true, but like Kyler Murray, I mean, I think we all know as Alabama fans, like we're fighting him off from the Heisman for Tua to get the Heisman, but like he's legit, and I just feel like that day, I feel like we had a bad taste in our mouth from Oklahoma, right? Anyways, so it's just like it's just weird. Like one day. That day, if we had to play them, then it could get tricky. That's all.
Well, I think you bring up a good point, and I'll talk about one game where a quarterback did give Alabama fits, and if you rewind to that Texas A&M game, Kellen Mond, he ran all over Alabama, right? He had over 100 yards rushing, I believe. Kyler Murray, as I've said, I got tremendous respect for his game, and Oklahoma's offense is as dangerous as it gets, but the defensive side of the ball, I mean, they have no defense, so. I think Alabama would handle Oklahoma. Oklahoma's certainly going to get their points, but I don't think they'd be able to stop Alabama. And I think Alabama's defense is more comparable to Oklahoma's offense, if that makes sense. I think the toughest team for Alabama is Georgia because they're next, and Clemson. Now I could see. Alabama and Oklahoma playing in that 1-4 spot. If Oklahoma wins and and they won't take Georgia, and then they would take Oklahoma if they beat Texas. And I think you got to take probably Oklahoma over Ohio State, or does Ohio State still get in because they would have beat Michigan? I don't know. Either way, I would like to see Alabama and Oklahoma, or I'd like to see Alabama and Ohio State at that 1-4 spot. I guess we haven't talked about that, right? Is Alabama versus Ohio State,
Right.
And that would be a good narrative too, because you have, Nick Saban going against Urban Meyer, and you can a million storylines with that one, and especially with the off the field stuff that has happened with Ohio State. I mean, it's just been flat out ugly. But either way, I think Alabama, and Vegas has early lines for all of these games and hypothetical matchups. And I think they're, even a 10-point favorite over Clemson. I have to recheck them. But Alabama's, even against Georgia, which is surprising, nearly a 2-touchdown favorite. Anything else while you're on the show?
My last question.
Yeah.
Who do you feel the most dangerous opponent, Georgia or Clemson?
I think Clemson. I just think that Clemson's defensive line is very talented. In my opinion, I think they're a little bit better than Alabama. I know that says a lot, but they get to the quarterback every single time, it seems like. And Alabama, up front on the offensive line, I think they've struggled at times besides Jonah Williams. So that concerns me. I think Clemson has a very good quarterback. I think they have, Etienne, along with their other running back for Clemson. He's very good. Dabo Swinney is a great coach, former Alabama player. Those two teams have history. They beat Alabama before. So I think a lot of people are saying that Clemson's secondary very suspect. And it's going to be tough because these wide receivers are something else. Maybe it comes down to who has the best secondary. So who has the best secondary? Does Georgia? Does Clemson? And maybe that's Georgia, right? Maybe Georgia has the best secondary. You're going to have to come with blitzes, and you're going to have to be able to somehow deal with these wide receivers in man coverage. So maybe it comes down to Georgia. I'm not sure. But, Clemson for me, Georgia probably number 2.
Appreciate that, Kyle, man. You always give great perspective, man, and I enjoy watching your show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate it.
All
right. I'll take one more caller, and then I'm gonna get some Z's. We got a busy week ahead with the SEC championship rolling around. You can rewatch on our YouTube channel the SEC teleconference. Nick Saban and Kirby Smart gave their opening comments just a couple hours ago. All right, hello, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from? Hello, you there? Okay, lost the call. All right, 205-686-3604. Take one more call. So tomorrow, Nick Saban's press conference will be at 12 p.m. Central Time. After that, Tua Tagovailoa will speak to the media again. It'll be a teleconference and won't be a live call in, but I'll definitely. All right, hello. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from? Hello. All right. We might be forcing calls right now. Like the tail end. Let's just call it right now. Anyways, as I was saying, so Monday we got Nick Saban's press conference. Tua Tagovailoa will be speaking to the media. I'll get all that information organized on BamaInsider.com on our YouTube channel. We also got a ton of coverage coming on BamaInsider.com. A lot of recruiting action. 3 commitments from the class of 2020 committed in the last couple days. Andrew Bones got that information for you on BamaInsider.com. Cyber Monday, look for a great promo on BamaInsider.com. As I always say at the end of our show, thank you to our service men and women overseas protecting our freedom so we can be here with our family. Don't think about our men and women overseas just on Thanksgiving. Every single day. It's much respect and appreciation from our staff to our United States military. And thank you to our past and present veterans. ton of content on BamaInsider.com. My email is kyle@BamaInsider.com if you want more information on our show, anything else. Be good people out there. Be nice to each other. Make someone's day better. And I will catch you guys next time on BamaInsider.com. The Sunday shows have been a big hit for us, so let's keep it going. Please like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time on BamaInsider.com. Talk soon. Thanks.